50. Actually, the moon is in the shape of a lemon. Despite appearing in the night sky, our natural satellite is nowhere near. In fact, the moon is shaped like a lemon with flattened poles and ridges on both the near and far side of its equator. This strange shape is thought to have been created during interactions with Earth shortly after its formation. 49. A day on Mercury is twice as long as a year. Technically, a Mercury day takes 59 Earth days, while a year lasts 88 days. However, due to Mercury's very eccentric orbit and alignment with the Sun, the time from sunrise to sunrise, known as a solar day, is equivalent to 176 Earth days, which is twice the Mercury year. 48. The moon moves further and further away from the Earth every year. The moon pulls on the Earth, causing our planet to be slightly egg-shaped. It affects the water even more, creating tides and causing oceans to build up to one side of the planet, creating a tidal bulge. This protrusion drags with the moon as it orbits. As the Earth rotates faster than the moon, 27.3 days versus 24 hours, the bulge moves slightly ahead of the moon's orbital position. The moon pulls it back, effectively trying to slow it down, eventually causing the Earth's rotational speed to gradually slow down over time. As the two bodies interact through gravity, this pull causes the Earth to lose energy and the moon to gain energy. Due to this increase in energy, the moon slowly spirals outward, moving away from us 3.8 centimeters per year. 47. Venus turns retrograde. Venus rotates in the opposite direction to other planets in our solar system. Frankly, this is a puzzle that must be solved if we are to understand more about the formation and evolution of our solar system. Could it be that another object hit Venus in the early days of the solar system and sent it in the opposite direction? The truth is, there is no confirmed theory as to why Venus rotates backwards relative to other planets. But that's not the only strange thing in Venus' orbit. The planet also rotates slowly, with a Venus day equivalent to 243 Earth days and longer than a Venus year, which is 225 Earth days. 46. A complete NASA spacesuit costs $12 million. The entire kit costs $12 million, with 70% of that cost for the backpack and control module. But the spacesuits used by NASA were made in 1974. If these were priced at today's prices, they would cost an estimated $150 million. 45. The largest known asteroid is 965 kilometers wide. Discovered by Italian astronomer Giuseppe Piazzi in 1801, the dwarf planet Ceres was the first and largest object to be considered an asteroid. It is located in the asteroid belt, between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, and makes up 33% of the entire mass of the belt. 44. The gas giant Jupiter is a failed star. Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, consists of hydrogen and helium. These are the same elements that make up our Sun. But Jupiter is not big enough to initiate nuclear fusion and generate its own energy. If it were about 80 times larger, it would be a low-mass star. Another fun fact about Jupiter is that it has a storm called the Great Red Spot. It has been spinning for over 100 years. 43. Pluto is no longer classified as a planet, but as a dwarf planet. Many planet-like objects are being discovered, which means the number of planets will continue to change. Therefore, the International Astronomical Union has created a new category called dwarf planets. Dwarf planets are objects like Pluto that are planet-like but do not dominate their orbits. 42. Saturn's moon Enceladus is the most reflective object in the solar system. Enceladus has an icy crust that reflects about 100% of the light that reaches it. It doesn't absorb much sunlight, making it a very cold world with temperatures around 201 deg C. This icy world is gushing out jets of water thought to come from the global ocean within. This month is one of the strongest candidates for life outside Earth. 41. Most galaxies have a black hole at their center. While the nature of black holes is still unclear, scientists have discovered that black holes are usually 1 divided by 1,000th the mass of their parent galaxies. For example, the central black hole of the Milky Way is 4.6 million times the mass of the Sun. 40. The boundary of the solar system ends in a spherical cloud known as the Oort cloud. This is a hypothetical sphere of icy bodies surrounding the solar system. It marks the limit of the Sun's gravitational influence. This predicted region is believed to be about 2,000 to 100,000 astronomical units from the Sun. Because the Oort cloud is so far from the Sun, it is often affected by the tidal forces of the Milky Way galaxy and other passing stars. Because of the great distance, scientists have yet to see any Oort cloud objects. 39. Astronauts grow taller in space. Astronauts can grow about 5 centimeters during their time in space. This is because of their spine's lack of gravity, which widens their discs and makes them taller. This was proven when astronaut Scott Kelly spent 340 days in space. And when he returned to Earth, he was taller than his twin brother. 38. In 1998, a rose was sent into space. The company International Flavors and Fragrances wanted to know if taking a rose into space would impart new scents. Rose was in the Space Shuttle Discovery. It was sampled back on Earth and used to make perfumes. 37. Outer space is very cold, with a temperature of about -270.42 degrees Celsius. Space is a really cold place. This is close to absolute zero, or -273.15 degrees Celsius, the lowest possible temperature. 36. There might be a giant planet at the edge of the solar system. In January 2015, California Institute of Technology astronomers Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown announced that, based on mathematical calculations and simulations, there might be a giant planet lurking far beyond Neptune. Several teams are currently searching for this theoretical planet 9, and research shows its location could be found within a decade. This massive object, if any, could help explain the motions of some objects in the Kuiper Belt, an icy collection of objects beyond Neptune's orbit. Brown discovered several large objects in that area that in some cases rivaled or exceeded Pluto's size. Their discovery was one of the catalysts that changed Pluto's state from planet to dwarf planet in 2006. But scientists are chasing another theory. Planet 9 might actually be a grapefruit-sized black hole and could warp space the way a giant planet would. Yet another team suggests that the strange movements of Kuiper Belt residents may be the combined effect of several small objects, not an undiscovered planet or black hole. 35. The position of the North Star will change over time. Navigation will be awkward when Polaris stops being the North Star in about 13,000 years. Earth's axis undergoes a movement called precession, which means that the planet's axis will change and take the shape of a cone, albeit slightly. When this happens, it takes about 26,000 years for the axis to take the shape of a full cone. In addition, Polaris, Earth's current North Star, will eventually begin to change positions as Earth enters motion. In 3000 BC, the North Star is believed to be the Theban star, also known as Alpha Draconis. In about 13,000 years, the star Vega will become the new North Star, but in 26,000 years, Polaris will return to its original position as Earth continues to go through its period of motion. 34. Only 5% of the universe is visible from Earth. The universe is 68% dark energy and 27% dark matter. Neither of these are visible even with a telescope, which means we can only see 5% of the universe. 33. Scarab beetles can use the Milky Way to navigate. Birds, seals, and humans are known to use stars to navigate, but African scarabs go one step further, using the entire galaxy instead of using individual stars to make sure they're moving in a straight line. Scientists noticed that insects can move dung balls in a straight line when the sky is clear, but not when it's cloudy. They confirmed their Milky Way hypothesis in their planetarium experiment. 32. We are all made of stardust. After the Big Bang, tiny particles came together to form hydrogen and helium. Later, in the super dense and hot centers of the stars, these elements came together to turn all the elements into iron. Iron and anything heavier than it, like nickel and gold, must have been made in high-energy reactions when a star explodes at the end of its life. 31. Astronauts must exercise at least 2 hours a day in space. If they don't exercise, they may lose 1% of their muscle mass. Also, when you stay in space for a long time and come to Earth, you cannot walk for the first week. The biggest reason for this is that your body cannot get used to the Earth's gravity. 30. Footprints on the moon are not erased because there is no wind there. If there is no wind, how did the American flag wave? It actually didn't fluctuate. That ripple motion you see is actually due to weak gravity. While the astronauts were flying the flag on the lunar surface, he slanted the flagpole into the lunar soil so that it could go deeper, and the flag, which started to move to regain its equilibrium position due to the tilt, fluttered for a slower time compared to the one on Earth when the gravitational force was weak. 29. You can survive a few minutes in a leaky spacesuit. Although movies like Total Recall show sudden explosions and rapidly inflating spacesuits, the effects of exposure to space are somewhat less dramatic. While it is certainly unpleasant, you may survive for a few minutes. After about 10 seconds, you will lose consciousness. The lower pressure of the vacuum causes your blood to boil along with other body fluids. However, this boil alone is not fatal due to the pressure provided by our blood vessels themselves. Gas bubbles form in your bodily fluids, causing your body to swell and bloat. The low humidity of the environment will cause you to get cold quickly and your eyes may freeze. Within 1 to 2 minutes, a lack of oxygen can be fatal. The stress of the situation can make these symptoms worse, and you will be deprived of oxygen more quickly. A quick decompression can damage your lungs, eardrums, and sinuses, along with soft tissue bruising and bleeding. 28. There may be a lot more water in space than we think. The world's oceans may not be so unique. 3 of Jupiter's moons, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto, and 2 of Saturn's moons, Enceladus and Titan, are thought to have underwater seas. Europa's ocean may contain more than twice the volume found on Earth. However, most of the water discovered so far surrounds a black hole about 12 billion light-years away. This region contains a large amount of water vapor, equivalent to 140 trillion times the volume of water in the Earth's oceans. 27. Uranus is the coldest planet in the solar system. Neptune is the farthest planet from the Sun, so you can expect it to be the coldest planet. But it is not. Uranus is. The question is, why is Uranus the coldest planet in the solar system? Could the falling temperature of Uranus be related to the atmosphere of the planet? Did Uranus lose most of its primeval warmth early in life? Or could it be related to the planet's strange tilt relative to other planets orbiting our Sun? 26. There is a planet made of diamonds. There is a planet made of diamonds twice the size of Earth. The superworld, Aka 55 Cancri, is most likely covered with graphite and diamonds. Visiting that planet will probably pay for the $12 million spacesuit needed to get there. It is also 40 light-years away but visible to the naked eye in the constellation Cancri. 25. Space is completely silent. There is no air or atmosphere in space. Since there is a vacuum, sound waves will not have a medium to go. This means that no one will hear you scream in space, even if you shout at your loudest. Radio waves can travel in space, while sound waves need a medium to travel. Astronauts use radio to stay in touch while in space, as radio waves can still be sent and received in a vacuum. 24. There are more stars in the universe than a grain of sand on Earth. The universe extends far beyond our own galaxy, the Milky Way, so scientists can only guess at how many stars are in space. However, scientists estimate that the universe contains about a septillion. While no one can truly count every grain of sand in the world, researchers at the University of Hawaii estimate the total 7 quintillion, somewhere around 500 quadrillion grains. This is a huge sand castle. 23. In 3.75 billion years, the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies will collide. The Andromeda galaxy is approaching our solar system's Milky Way at approximately 110 kilometers per second at 68 miles per hour, and eventually the two will collide to form a giant elliptical galaxy. 22. If two pieces of metal of the same kind come into contact in space, they are permanently bonded. This incredible fact is also known as cold welding, and this happens because the atoms of two pieces of metal have no way of knowing that they are apart. This does not happen on Earth because of the air and water present between the parts. 21. We don't know exactly where the moon came from. There are a few anomalies about our moon that make astronomers question how it got here. So we don't know exactly where the moon came from, but there are many theories. The leading and most widely accepted theory is the Great Impact Theory. This theory proposes that a large object the size of Mars impacted the Earth shortly after the solar system formed. This effect caused large amounts of heated material to be ejected into space by both Earth and the colliding object called the. Eventually, this ejected material collected and formed our moon. 20. There is a volcano on Mars 3 times the size of Everest. According to scientists, 600 kilometers wide and 21 kilometers high, Olympus Mons is a volcano on Mars that may still be active. It is the highest peak of any planet. However, the central summit of Silvia on the asteroid Vesta is taller at 22 kilometers. 19. Mercury and Venus are the only planets without moons. The terrestrial planets Mercury and Venus cannot eclipse moons due to their close distance from the Sun. The Sun's gravity is much stronger and will pull any natural satellites orbiting these nearby planets. 18. Uranus revolves around the Sun. Uranus often appears as a featureless blue ball in class solar system models, but this gas giant of the outer solar system is rather bizarre on closer inspection. First, according to NASA's Uranus guide, the planet spins on its side, appearing like a ball orbiting the Sun. The most likely explanation for the planet's unusual orientation, about 90 degrees sideways compared to other planets, is that it had undergone some sort of titanic collision in the past. The tilt of Uranus causes seasons that NASA considers the most extreme seasons in the solar system. For about a quarter of each Uranian year, the Sun shines directly over the planet's north or south pole. This means that in over 2 decades on Earth, half of Uranus has never seen the Sun. Scientists have been watching these extreme seasons on Uranus and hoped that the 2007 equinox on the planet could cause unusual weather. But 7 years later, the atmosphere turned into unexpected wild storms, making Uranus more of a puzzle than ever before. 17. The Sun will swallow the Earth 5 billion years from now. The Sun is currently still a main sequence star. It produces energy by converting hydrogen into helium. When it turned into a red giant, it would become bigger and brighter. When our Sun reaches this stage, its expansion will likely reach the orbit of the red planet Mars. While the Sun is not yet a red giant, it is much larger than Earth. In fact, about 1 million Earths could fit inside the Sun. 16. When you look at a star, you actually see how it was in the past. It takes time for light to reach Earth. For example, it takes about 8.5 minutes for sunlight to reach the Earth's surface. For example, the bright star Ceres is roughly 8.6 light years away. This means that when you see it in the sky tonight, you are actually seeing Ceres as it was 8.6 years ago. 15. Galaxies are either elliptical, spiral, or regular. Galaxy types are generally classified according to their appearance. For example, our own Milky Way is a spiral galaxy. As more galaxies were discovered, we learned that they were in all shapes and sizes. Besides the main types, there are also lenticular galaxies and strange-looking galaxies. 14. All planets in the solar system have been visited by uncrewed spacecraft. Venus was the first planet visited by a spacecraft in 1962. It was also the first planet on which probes landed. Even outer planets like the Cassini spacecraft, which has been orbiting Saturn for 13 years, have had visitors. 13. The International Space Station is the size of a football field. The ISS is the biggest thing we've flown in space. From end to end, it measures approximately 109 meters or 356 feet. It orbits the Earth every 1.5 hours, moving at a speed of 27,700 kilometers per hour. 12. We usually see astronauts in white spacesuits, but there are also orange spacesuits. The color of the spacesuits depends on the activities of the astronauts. White suits are for non-vehicle activity when walking in space. This color helps to reflect the heat of the sun. Orange advanced crew escape suits are used when astronauts take off or re-enter Earth. Color makes them easy to be seen everywhere, especially at sea. 11. You can't walk on Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, or Neptune because they don't have solid surfaces. 10. Saturn has 82 known moons and continues to increase. Saturn has the largest number of moons known in the solar system. Its largest moon, Titan, is larger than Mercury. The ringed planet also has smaller moons called shepherd moons that help keep Saturn's rings in shape. 9. The highest mountain known to man is on an asteroid called Vesta. With a huge height of 22 kilometers, it is 3 times taller than Mount Everest. 8. Organic molecules are everywhere. Organics are complex carbon-based molecules found in living things but can also be created by non-biological processes. While organic molecules are common on Earth, they can unexpectedly be found in many other places in the solar system. Scientists have found organic materials, for example, on the surface of Comet 67P. The discovery supported the claim that organic molecules could have been brought to the surface from space to accelerate life on Earth. Organic matter has been found on the surface of Mercury, on Saturn's moon Titan, which gives Titan its orange color, and on Mars. 7. The Sun completes one full orbit around itself in 25 Earth days. 6. Comets are remnants of the formation of our solar system about 4.5 billion years ago. They are made up of sand, ice, and carbon dioxide. Also, the birth of Jupiter in our solar system prevented any planetary bodies from forming between Mars and Jupiter, causing small objects there to collide with each other and shatter into asteroids. 5. There are rising volcanic eruptions on Jupiter's moon Io. Compared to Earth's peaceful moon, Jupiter's moon Io may come as a surprise. The Jupiter moon has hundreds of volcanoes and is considered the most active moon in the solar system, sending sulfur clouds up to 300 kilometers into its atmosphere. Io's volcanoes release more than 900 kilograms of gas and particles a ton per second into space near Jupiter, according to a NASA statement. Io's explosive nature is due to the enormous forces exerted by the moon. Nestled in Jupiter's gravitational well and magnetic field, the interior of the moon stretches and relaxes as it orbits near and far from the planet, producing enough energy for volcanic activity. Scientists are still trying to understand how heat is radiated in Io's interior, making it difficult to predict where volcanoes exist using scientific models alone. 4. Saturn is the only planet that can float on water. Although Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system, it is also the lightest planet. Saturn can float in water because it is mostly made up of gas. 3. Any fluid moving freely in space will form itself into a sphere. This is because of something called surface tension, which is an imbalance of intermolecular attractive forces. This can also occur in low Earth orbit. 2. Milky Way smells of rum, raspberry, and metallic. We know this from a discovery made. In 2009, astronomers investigating a giant cloud of gas and dust in the center of the Milky Way made a surprising discovery. The cloud was filled with a chemical known as ethyl formate, which has several interesting properties. This chemical is responsible for giving raspberries its flavor and has a rum smell. In another study, the universe smells like a new resource. Of course, a vacuum can't smell. Astronaut Don Petit also found an indirect clue about the International Space Station. When colleagues returned from fieldwork, their suits had a metallic smell. Another nearby area is notable for being full of ethyl alcohol, or ethanol, the kind we use to make alcoholic beverages. 1. Wherever we stand in the world, we always see the same face of the moon. This is because the moon rotates on its axis at the same speed as the Earth. It is known as synchronous turn or tidal locking. We have come to the end of the top 50 interesting facts about space videos. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.